I begin, I do want to say a few words about this tragic shooting that took place this morning in Winder, Georgia. And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. You know, I'm going off script right now. Kids are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential, and some part of their big, beautiful brain is concerned about a shooter busting through the door of the classroom. It does not have to be this way.
And as the school year begins, a tragedy strikes. A 14-year-old decided today was the day they were going to go into school with a firearm and injure and kill innocent people. The 14-year-old suspect was taken into custody by the school resource officer. Now, this is an important point. The school resource officer engaged the shooter at Appalachia High School and arrested him without the shooter being injured, as far as I know. Right now, they're saying 4 people were killed and at least 9 were injured by the gunfire. And I say remember the school resource officer for a couple of reasons. Kamala Harris just said kids are in class just trying to live out their God-given potential to learn, to grow, and to move on with their lives. They should not have to worry about someone coming through the door with a firearm to try to harm or kill them. But she said that today, September 4th, 2024, on the campaign trail for the presidency. Now, you all know I'm no fan of Kamala Harris. I'm no fan of Joe Biden. And every time there's a shooting, they speak about stronger gun laws, stricter gun laws. They blame Republicans. Well, I blame both sides of the aisle. Because as far as I'm concerned, you can have the strongest, strictest gun laws there are. And if a person wants a firearm, they will be able to get one. And most of these kids who do these horrific crimes are accessing the firearm at home. This was a 14-year-old. Where were the parents? Obviously, this kid has some kind of mental illness that made them commit such a horrific crime. The parents are number one. They need to be involved in their kids' lives, okay? If the parent has a firearm, it needs to be unloaded and secured where the child cannot access it, bottom line. But the main thing about this tragedy today and what Harris said was in 2019, while she was out campaigning for the presidency, again, remember, 2020, she was running. She wanted to be the president before Joe. She was given a talk, and she said she wants to demilitarize schools and remove police officers from them.
Again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools and taking police officers out of schools. We need to deal with the reality and speak the truth about the inequities around school discipline.
So 2019, she wants to remove police officers from schools because it's too military. She wants to demilitarize it. Okay? Today, it's a tragedy that kids have to think about being shot in school. It's an absolute tragedy. And again, it starts with the parents. But these politicians today will speak on any subject to benefit themselves. You see, back in 2019, when Harris was on the campaign trail, everybody was up in arms. The George Floyd thing, everybody hated cops. Cops are bad. Cops don't belong in schools. Cops are the criminals. Defund the police. She was against the police, wanted them out of schools. Cops with guns have no place in schools. But today, thank God the school resource officer was there. That's right, thank God, because that child, 14-year-old child, might have killed more innocent people. And that is the biggest problem we face in our country when it comes to gun violence. Again, strict gun laws, fantastic. I have no problem with that. But if a mentally ill person as young as 14 knows there's a firearm in their house and their head is so out of whack that they want to do something like this, they're going to take that firearm and do it. So I blame the parent for not having the gun secured if that's where this kid got it. But I also blame all of the politicians, Republican, Democrat, or Independent, because they can't get their heads out of their asses fast enough to get on the same page with such an important issue as school safety. Every school in the United States of America should have armed police officers in them, or armed, well-trained security personnel, or well-trained armed teachers. Our children should not, and I'll only agree with Harris on one thing, our children should not have to be sitting in class worry about some lunatic coming through the door with a gun. They have enough to focus on to learn and grow. Unfortunately, it's always going to happen. You're never going to be able to stop it because access to firearms is too easy. Criminals don't go to gun stores and fill out a form to buy a gun. They steal it. They buy it off the street. They can get them. It's easy. Wake up. These politicians have to, again, pull their heads out of their asses, get together and work on something, put money aside, fund it, do whatever you have to do. Stop sending billions of dollars to other countries so they're safe, and start putting money in our country and make our schools safe. Armed, trained police officers, trained armed security, or trained and armed teachers. Not a sign that says this school is a gun-free zone. That is laughable. And they're going to keep talking about it, and one side's going to blame the other, this side's going to blame that side. It doesn't matter what political party you're affiliated with. You're all at fault for fighting amongst each other just to keep our children safe. Enough is enough with this garbage. Now people are without their loved ones. People are injured, and this is something every child in that school will remember for the rest of their lives, because people are asleep at the wheel. And one more time, thank God for the school resource officer confronting the shooter and stopping it before it got worse. So Kamala Harris, forget her. She's a joke. She doesn't even know what she's talking about because she contradicts herself every time she takes a breath. 2019, demilitarize, pull cops out of schools. Now all first responders are wonderful. Give me a break. Our country needs to change, and politicians need to make our kids safe.